Who would you be in the absence of the fear? And I said this to absolutely beautiful client. Who would you be if the fear was no longer narrating your life? And we pinpointed where did it come from, which of the people actually installed this as part of her story for survival. So hear me out on this. Not the fear disguises overthinking, not the fear disguises perfection. I'm not talking about the fear who is disguised as a control or hyper-independence, yeah? But people-pleasing, emotional protection, yeah? But truly, who would you be without constant expectation that something bad is about to happen? Because most people are not living from their authentic self. Yeah, that's why I called the Authentic Feminine New Group. They're living from conditional survival responses. And those responses were learned somewhere. A child who felt abandoned becomes an adult terrified of rejection. And a child who was criticized becomes an adult addicted to perfectionism. Yeah? A child who never felt emotionally safe becomes an adult who needs a control to feel secure. And some of you have got this pattern in this. Yeah, or some of the children who learn that they're too much, they're not enough, they're not important. I have to perform for love. Yeah, that child does not magically leaves those beliefs behind, or just because he signs up a business coaching and then they think that they were going to be disappearing that after 6 weeks. No, it's not. Because over the time, that survival insight becomes their identity. So when people say, this is just who I am, and when I hear that, I always look at it like, what happened to them? This is not who they are. This is who they had to become emotionally to survive. And this is why awareness changes everything. That's the first step to it. Yeah, because once you can see the pattern, and we unblock the pattern by looking at it and find it where it is, what age something happened to you, and by who, and that's where the spirit comes in for my work. Yeah, and then this is where when we identify the wound, we start creating the mechanisms with authentic self. Yeah, because I always say this: healing is remembering who you were before the fear, before the conditioning, before the self-protection, or before the will taught you that it wasn't safe to fully be yourself. Yeah, because beneath all that fear, what you have got, beneath the coping mechanisms, beneath the survival identity, which you are carrying like a shield right now, you were always there. Remember that.